Currently, we are working closely with Mr. Benson and the leadership of the New Orleans Saints to convince the NFL to invite New Orleans to bid.
Shreveporter Ryan Harrison chosen to his third U.S. Davis Cup team. Harrison and company will take on Serbia in the first round of action, which is set to begin February 2nd. The Shape of Water picks up 13 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture. 9 movies will be competing for that trophy. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Inside all of us.
Well, let me say that we are in a very serious problem in Louisiana. We're facing cutting our tops Medicaid.
Good morning. It's 11. It's 11 past 6 o'clock. It's going to be an awesome day today. Traffic update starting us off Wednesday morning. Here's Ruben.
It is once again the best time of day to get where you're going because everything is all clear for your early morning drive to work or school. But look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be a nice day with sunshine and a high of 61, then clear tonight, low 33. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, high 64. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zare.
Good morning. It's 13 past 6 o'clock. 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL app's a free download from Office Furniture Source. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Who you going to call? Greg Tarver. No, I'm serious. Because here we go. Here we go. This is from, what year was Ghostbusters? Quick, off the top. You're the first one.
No, 78?
83?
84.
Wow.
94, 04, 14.
God.
Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray and
Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, but who was the third white guy?
Oh, Ivan Reitman?
No, he was the director. He was also in Stripes.
He was also a director. God, what is his name? He died a couple of years ago.
He just passed away a couple of years ago.
Now it's going to bug.
Black hair. I know you're talking about.
Curly-haired guy.
Yeah. Shoot.
The perfect intro for the Shreveport Security Systems text line, 318-392-1884. Why on earth did I start the show by what?
Harold Ramis.
Yeah, Harold
That's it.
Ramis.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Why on earth did I start the show by quoting Ghostbusters? Because there's a line in Ghostbusters when all the ghosts get loose and are wreaking havoc on New York City. The dead rising from the grave, human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Mm-hmm. Is that sort of what Senator Greg Tarver was telling us yesterday?
He said all the public hospitals would have to close.
Dead rising from the grave, human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
It's almost like saying there'll be no LSU football.
Is the threat.
No one would say that.
Is the threat of this fiscal cliff, of the disaster that it will wreak, runt, is it...
Reek, runt?
Yes, I can.
Present, past,
yes.
Past perfect, present perfect.
I, he, she, it. Don't say that fast.
Oh boy.
Are the threats, are the warnings, are they so grave that are they so just out there? Dogs and cats living together?
Yeah. That's too much. It's too much. And then you have Wags telling us this is an embarrassment. This budget's laughable. Why waste our time?
How long is the Greg Tarver interview from yesterday?
5:57.
We've got time.
Oh, boy.
We started off with Senator Greg Tarver yesterday, and basically we said, so this fiscal cliff. Fiscal cliff. That's,
Sorry, I wasn't with you there, Maddie.
Yeah, it's okay. I've only got so much gas this morning.
Me too.
Don't make me run on fumes. So this fiscal cliff, and John Bell is painting this doomsday scenario. Is it legitimate?
Well, let me say that we are in a very serious problem in Louisiana. We're facing cutting our TOPS, Medicare for the poor. We're about to close all the hospitals in Louisiana because we do not have the necessary money. He told the truth. We've been kicking the can down the road ever since I came back to the Senate. And it's about time that we clear up our fiscal situation. In our home, if we had the same problem, it would have been cleared up a long time ago.
Mr. Gregg, pardon me. You just said we're about to close every hospital in the state of Louisiana.
Public hospital.
Public hospital, correct.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone gonna shut down.
Including University Health.
Locks will be on the doors. People be turned away to bleed.
Let me tell you, I'm not trying to frighten anyone. I'm just telling the truth. We have a very serious money problem in Louisiana. We cannot fund right now at the level that we're funding. Medicaid is a serious problem, not only with the public hospitals, also with the private hospitals, because they receive Medicaid too. That is going to be cut. Every situation that you can think of at these universities are going to be cut tremendously.
But Greg, let me ask, it's okay to call you Greg, I hope.
She asks you that every time.
I know.
I know.
Our budget is almost $30 billion. It's our largest budget ever. That's what I don't understand. Our budget keeps growing. And they want to say it's federal money, but others say, no, that's not completely accurate.
Well, other people don't know what they're talking about, number one. Let me give you an example. Let's take insurance department. Insurance department is self-generated. Let's take the oil and gas department. That is self-generated. Let's take wildlife and fishery. All that is self-generated. Let's look at all the other departments. They're self-generated. They are not public funds. They're self-generated funds by licenses and things like that. What we're talking about, general fund money, and general fund money make up approximately maybe 30 or 35% of the budget. We need this federal money because of the matching portion. If we lose $1 billion, we're losing $3 billion in the budget or $4 billion in the budget because we use the money to match everything.
Excuse me, Mr. Gregg, you started to say, you said a couple of seconds ago, Louisiana, we got no money. Is Greg Tarver calling for a tax increase? What exactly
Keep the penny on the books?
Is your solution?
Well, I think that we have given a lot of credits out to a lot of companies, and a lot of big companies in this state do not pay income tax. We pay them to be in Louisiana a lot of times. We refund them money when they got tax credits. I'm not saying let's bring back on the penny, because that's a regressive tax. That is hurting needy and poor people. That is not helping poor people. They're putting them back and further back in the hole.
But if we increase tax on businesses, doesn't that that gets passed along to your constituents, my neighbors, et cetera? Isn't that right?
Well, let me give you an example. Look at the tax that we have, 4 cents tax right now. Let's look at the 4 cents. We have so many exemptions from that 4 cents. So many, about $3 or $4 billion exemption from that 4 cents. A lot of things are off of that 4 cents. If we just clean up 1 penny, we could do something about having more money in Louisiana. We need to bring back a lot of things in Louisiana that people basically are not paying for. Let me say this to you. I don't like taxes. I want to tax everybody. Everybody but me. But one thing about it, I have to tax me too when I tax everybody else. Don't tax me, tax the man behind the tree. Everybody got to pay the proper share.
Greg, let me ask you this. If you and your wife, and all of a sudden Greg has a rough year, and you're bringing in 20% less money than you normally do, you and your wife are going to sit down and go, we're going to have to eat out less. We're going to have to cut our HBO back. We're going to have to make changes to our budget. Why can't the state do that? If we're bringing in less money, why can't we tell every state agency, hey, cut 10%? If it has to be people in your department, I'm sorry, that's what you choose to do. Is that even an option? It would have to be in Greg Tarver's home budget, right?
Well, let's look at Greg Tarver's home budget. I don't have hospitals in my budget. I don't have aid to dependent children in my budget. I don't have Medicaid in my budget. When you look at a personal budget and you look at a business budget, it's two different things. Mm-hmm. You cannot compare apple and oranges. Like the ad on TV said, an apple is an apple. Regardless, whatever you say, it's still an apple. I'm saying to you, we have problems in this state. We got to solve the fiscal problem in this state, or it's going to take down Louisiana and every organization that runs by Louisiana. We already cut things through the budget. The federal government is making us do things in the children's department because we were cutting that tremendously. Now, we need more money. I don't like taxes. I hate taxes. I hate to pay the federal government. I hate to pay the state government. But that is what you have to do. That's part of being in America.
22 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. The KEEL app's a free download. Here's Ruben, traffic update.
Everything's still running nice and smooth for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Swan Lake Road near Shed Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, sunny and pleasant with a high today of 61, clear with a low of 33 tonight, sunshine, high 64 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Good morning. It's 24 past 6 o'clock. Sports update. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU snapped a 3-game losing streak and also won an SEC home game for the first time this season with their convincing 77-65 win over Texas A&M. Dwop Reith, coming off a career-high 31 points in Saturday's loss at Vanderbilt, led the Tigers with 21 points and 8 rebounds. Freshman Tremont Waters came through with 15 points, 9 assists, and 8 steals. LSU never trailed, opening a 6-0 lead early, 41-26 at the half, and then they actually saw the lead balloon up to 19 points in the second half. The Aggies whittled it down to 10 points on 7 different times, but LSU had none of that rally. North Caddo's Robert Williams led A&M with 21 points and 15 rebounds. LSU was out-rebounded 50-30, making this the first win while being out-rebounded by 20 or more since Dale Brown's team upset number 2 Georgetown in the Louisiana Superdome back in 1989. Arkansas overcame a 29-13 first-half deficit to beat Georgia on the road 80-77. That game also was in double overtime. This is the first road win for the Razorbacks all season long. And in last night's clash of the 1-4A Titans and high school hoops, 4th-ranked Bossier knocked off top-ranked Woodlawn 85-84 in double overtime. Junior Jacoby Decker led Bossier with 37 points. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.26 after 6 o'clock. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. So is Mr. Greg Tarver, Senator Greg Tarver, is he a little on the I don't want to say hysterical end, but are all those hospitals will close, dead rising from the grave, cats and dogs living together, is he going Bill Murray on us there?
Will the hospitals close? No.
Well, then why do you say that?
Why did the governor say there'll be no LSU football? They say things to stir us up, to make us talk about it, which is what we're doing.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. They're just making up stuff to scare you.
That's how I'm viewing it.
Or when they go to cut stuff, like in the governor's, what a lot of people are referring to as his doomsday talk. Say it the way you do. It's awesome. Doomsday. That's movie trailer voice right there, ladies and gentlemen. So when the governor talks, when John Bell talks about doomsday, is he just making stuff up? Or is he thinking, okay, you guys aren't going to give me what I want, the old National Lampoon magazine cover with the dog and the gun. Give me what I want. Buy this magazine or the puppy gets it. Or is he threatening, and his minions threatening that if you guys don't give us the added revenue, if you don't give us the tax increases or the fee increases or the registration boosts or whatever money or the tax exemptions being removed from Louisiana businesses, if you don't give us what we want, we will make the cuts so obvious and painful. Look, if you've got to cut $1 million from the state budget, is TOPS the first thing you would cut? Is higher education the first thing you would cut?
No,
is
please
health
let
care,
me at the budget.
Is health care for poor people the first thing you would cut? And yet that's exactly what John Bell says needs to be cut first.
Oh, please let me at the budget. I know they think I'm an idiot. I know John Bell and them think, yeah, whatever.
Would you cut TOPS first? Would you
No.
cut higher education? Would you cut
I
health
would
care?
do what I told you yesterday. Every agency, cut 10%. If it means people, paper clips, cars, airplanes, do what you got to do.
so
I
if
trust you. You're the expert in your field.
If you would look at the state budget and you would cut what you saw to be waste and, I'm not going to say abuse, but overspending, let's say. And John Bell, the governor of Louisiana, his first response, his first inclination is to cut higher education and health care for poor people, and you call yourself an idiot? 29 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic time. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still running nice and smooth for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Swan Lake Road near Shed Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, sunny and pleasant with a high today of 61, clear with a low of 33 tonight, sunshine, high 64 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Convicted killer makes an appeal before the state Supreme Court. Matt Parker with an update.
Convicted child killer Brian Horn was before the Louisiana Supreme Court Tuesday, making the first of what many experts believe will be many appeals to save his life. Horn was convicted and sentenced to death in the murder of 12-year-old Justin Bloxam. Horn's attorney says that he is guilty, but the death was accidental and Horn should not get the death penalty. Their appeal focuses on what they believe are dozens of errors made in the case. A ruling is not expected for several months. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The crime numbers for last year are in for Shreveport. While crime did increase overall 1%, that shows murders, auto thefts, and business robberies are all up. Numbers in other areas saw a significant drop. More delays in deciding what to do about the Jimmy Davis Bridge.
These environmental assessments, anything that they can to delay these projects is frustrating. We need to change that. We hear this message from Washington, from the president, we're going to change the regulation. Well, Baton Rouge has to take the message and change the regulation too and start moving faster.
Senator Barrow Peacock, the environmental assessment, the latest, is expected to be done by this fall. Caddo School Board votes to renew the charter for the Magnolia School of Excellence. The school's performance grade recently dropped from a D to an F. Many, including the NAACP president, say the school has failed students across the parish. Magnolia's board has agreed to work with the school system to improve academics and performance. More education news, this to Minden at the Lakeside School, where leaders announced they will no longer broadcast the Lord's Prayer at the beginning of every day. The decision made after the school was sued by a parent whose daughter attends that school. Louisiana's budget mess draws opinions from all sides. Shreveport Senator Greg Tarver telling KEEL News the cuts proposed by the governor are serious.
We're facing cutting our TOPS, Medicare for the poor. We're about to close all the hospitals in Louisiana because we do not have the necessary money. He told the truth. We've been kicking the can down the road ever since I came back to the Senate. And it's about time that we clear up our fiscal situation.
Now, Stephen Wagasback with the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry telling KEEL News the governor's budget package is laughable.
We don't know what the real answers are because we can't get real numbers.
Caddo Commission and the parish administrator are taking steps to improve the animal shelter. Commissioner Matthew Lynn telling us what will be happening now.
We need to embrace technology as a way to stop duplication of effort and as a way to streamline services and as a way to stop accidentally putting down the wrong animal.
There is a public meeting to talk about the animal control issues across Caddo Parish. That meeting is at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Shreveporter Ryan Harrison has been named his third U.S. Davis Cup team. He and the team will take on Serbia in the first round of action, which kicks off February 2nd. The LHSAA annual convention convening today, and on Friday, principals are set to vote on a number of proposals. A vote will not be taken on whether to end the split playoff in football, but North Vermilion principal Tommy Byler has a proposal to even up the number of schools that play each classification in an effort to prevent one or two win teams from making the playoffs on the non-select side.
We're at least having a pool of 45 teams in every division to pull from, hopefully, so you're avoiding some of these teams that in Class A who automatically qualify just because they played.
Free-range parenting is a modern buzzword for families aiming to raise self-sufficient kids. But how much freedom, at what age, remains a fierce debate. Now a Utah lawmaker wants to make sure moms and dads don't find themselves under investigation for allowing mature kids with good judgment to do things alone, such as travel to school, explore a playground, or stay in their parents' car. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Yeah, I'm okay. Little Ricola there. Ricola. 636, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and political power broker, power monger Erin McCarty. We talked about yesterday that your political career has begun. Congratulations.
I'm not getting in politics.
You're already in politics.
This town's not big enough for me.
So you are what now? What is this going to be?
I'm going to be serving on the Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association.
What does that entail?
I'm going to meetings every now and then, a fish fry, I guess.
Take down that flag.
I guess, helping set up meetings, doing neighborhood stuff. I don't know. I've got a brown thumb, so I'm not real good at gardening. If they want me to plant hedges and stuff.
I didn't even know you lived in the Captain Shreve neighborhood.
I didn't realize that my subdivision was in the Captain Shreve neighborhood. I'm okay with that. I like that. I go to the Broadmoor meetings every now and then. I hang out with those folks. I cross the
of all the neighborhoods
streams.
I would have thought you would have been eligible to serve, to participate. Captain Shreve, I think of like near the high school. And maybe South Broadmoor.
That's right by my house.
It's nowhere near your house. I know where you live. Now, you turn off the lights when I show up.
Yeah, exactly.
But so do my other friends. So here's my suggestion. I think you, as your political career begins, I think you need to get a little band made, like a little rubber band.
Yeah.
Like I have, right here. Right here. I'm showing on the camera. And it should say WWSLD. And that would abbreviate, what would Stephanie Lynch do?
I love this. I have to read something she put on our Facebook page.
Go ahead.
This is reaction to the governor unveiling his budget plan.
The doomsday scenario.
Mm-hmm. And one gentleman posted, last year it was LSU football. Stephanie replied.
That he threatened would cease to exist.
No LSU
We
football.
don't have the money, he said last year.
She said, really, people? This dance is as old as the funky chicken. It happens every other year and with every governor. Nothing to get worked up over because they will come to an agreement. But the bottom line reality is that the state spends more than it receives. However, if they made the cuts that need to be made, a whole lot of people would lose their jobs, which would create a negative domino effect upon other businesses that depend on the middle class.
On the other hand,
I like the funky chicken. You want to see it?
Rufus Thomas, stop. On the other hand, if, as Senator Tarver said yesterday, as John Bell and his cohorts in the state legislature want to do, to eliminate all of those tax exemptions from businesses, isn't that going to hurt everybody in Louisiana? It's not like the businesses who get their taxes raised aren't going to pass their increased costs onto their customers.
Yeah. Another comment on our Facebook page to the same post. Randy says, "Cut the waste in government. There would be a surplus. 70th Street Bridge, Jimmy Davis Bridge, is a good example. Study after study, no bridge, just wasted money."
639, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. What do you have in just a couple of seconds? You're getting ready to hit the button.
I've got a bucket of hornets, and I'm about to stir the nest.
A bucket of hornets?
Yes, I do.
If that's not a mixed metaphor, I don't know what is.
This is the first round of a 15-inning fight.
You want to put your butt in my bucket?
What's she talking about? We'll find out next on Keel. Here's Ruben, traffic update.
It is once again the best time of day to get where you're going because everything is all clear for your early morning drive to work or school. But look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be a nice day with sunshine and a high of 61, then clear tonight, low 33. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, high 64. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zare.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin, Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884. Okay, so let's start with Lou Burnett, who I did not know had passed away.
Yes, was a wonderful gentleman. He was a longtime journalist. He worked on Capitol Hill as an executive assistant to several folks on the Hill, Congressman Huckabee for a long time. And he passed away last week. He did not want any fanfare. He would not be happy that this is on our website, his death, announcing his death. But his last article in the Forum magazine sparked my
interest.
Yeah, because he's always been adamantly against the Mardi Gras routes that we currently have. Lou was very much against.
He's just a crabby old guy? What's the deal here? What's his reasoning? What's the logic?
He did not like the fact that the residents there in the Shreve Island, the Broadmoor neighborhoods, were kind of prisoners to their homes for those 2 Saturdays when the parades rolled through. Yes.
I had a friend that lived on Leo. She could not move. In fact, she would, not only that, she had to block the driveway. You had to cover your lawn. I mean, there was a whole bunch of things you had to do to protect your property because of the rather rambunctious crowd.
In his final article, I'm going to quote this because this is interesting, because this goes back a ways to when they were talking about maybe changing the routes. He said there were a few allies about moving the routes, such as then Fire Chief Brian Crawford, who said the parades were a, quote, disaster waiting to happen. But the members of the Public Safety Committee bought into the crew's bombastic description of the parades and all the money that it brought in. So we've kept the route the same, leaving from Lake Street at Clyde Fant, going to Shreveport Barksdale, then going to East Kings.
So the route of which
Preston.
he is critical is not the old Pierre Bossier Mall to Preston route.
No.
Over the Barksdale Bridge. He's talking about the downtown, down the Fant Parkway, and then back up Shreveport Barksdale Highway down Preston again.
He's critical of going through the neighborhood. He does not
So basically, he doesn't like the East Kings thing.
Yeah, the Duck Pond thing. He probably would like to get rid of the Shreve City thing, because he said that there was a study presented that only 2 businesses in Shreve City said they wanted it there, because their businesses have to shut down. They can't do business on that Saturday unless you're selling something that the crowd wants. But if you're a Metro PCS, or if you're selling something that is of no interest to that crowd, you might as well shut your business down. And a lot of them do. A lot of them shut down. And so it got me to thinking again, what should we do about the Mardi Gras routes? And I know there's been a lot of debate, and I'm not sure what I would do.
How much money does the city make leasing space or spaces along the current route? How much do you think they make selling the spots, renting the spots on East Kings?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
But it's and I got to tell you.
But you can lease space along the parkway if you want.
I got to tell you, the best place to watch the parade, if you're just a regular guy, and I am speaking for myself, the best place is East Kings. It's the best place.
Well, let me
along the Duck Pond area.
Let me give you my experience.
It's the best spot.
Let me give you my experience as a rider, though, because I've ridden in the parades for many years. And you come to Shreve City, it's just getting dark. It's kind of scary because the crowd is so huge. But you have the barricades. You have the gates that keep people, you stay on the other side of the gate. And most of us on the floats, if somebody sneaks in front of that barricade, we still throw to the back. So people that sneak in front, usually, unless you got a little kid on your shoulders. But then when you turn on the Duck Pond, I call it the Duck Pond Road.
Onto East Kings.
When you turn onto East Kings, these people are on you. They are right on you. They are right there in your grill.
Right.
And I have had them jump up on the float trying to grab stuff I've had on the ledge. And my impression of turning onto the Duck Pond Road is drunk 12-year-olds, because that's all I see.
What?
I see little teeny bopper middle school kids wasted on their gummy bears that they've been soaking in vodka all day, that mama doesn't know the gummy bears are soaking in vodka.
Well, they're going to do that anywhere.
They're going to do that anywhere.
Yeah.
But you get that, they've had that all day to stew and to marinate. And they're young kids. These are young. These are not high school or college kids.
No, what I'm saying is, though, is changing the route going to keep kids from drinking? I don't think that changing...
No, they're going to drink.
Then you're talking about changing the route.
One thing they did was one year they started at Preston and went the other direction. And so all those teeny bopper kids didn't have all day to marinate.
Okay, but you're missing. You're talking 2 different topics.
Mm-hmm.
You can either change the reason you want to change the route doesn't have anything to do with kids drinking.
I'm not advocating changing the route. Don't misunderstand me. I really don't have a fish in this pond, but is that a saying?
Duck in the pond.
Is that it? Okay, yeah, I don't have a duck in the pond, but
moose in the fight.
I would like to know what folks want to know, because I do know that some of my neighborhoods my neighbors in the Captain Shreve neighborhood and the Broadmoor neighborhood,
of which you are now a political leader.
Yes, they do not like it going through their neighborhood.
Yeah.
They feel like they're a prisoner. I know in my house where I am, I cannot get out. I literally cannot get out during certain times of that day. So if I haven't booked my day away, I need to book my day in if I'm not going to the parade. If I'm not riding or I'm not in it or not involved, I book my day in to do something else.
I think of all the things and all the parades and all the festivities of the Mardi Gras season in New Orleans, and how they run through neighborhoods, and how they go past people's houses, and how they do all of and the thing that, well, hell, let's bring it closer to home. I don't hear a lot of people in the Highland neighborhood complaining that the Highland Parade locks them in their homes.
Mm-hmm.
To the contrary. They're all part of it. They're all out front. They all take part. They all have a great time.
Yep. Well, we do want to know what you think should be done. We have a poll up. It's on our Facebook page. It's at keelnews.com. What do you think should happen with the Mardi Gras parades? Should the routes be changed? Keep them on the Parkway? Return to Bossier? You got several options on there. Log on now at keelnews.com. Let us know what you think.
649, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Your Money Now is next. Here's Ruben.
It is once again the best time of day to get where you're going because everything is all clear for your early morning drive to work or school. But look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be a nice day with sunshine and a high of 61, then clear tonight, low 33. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, high 64. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zare.
The KEEL app is brought to you by Office Furniture Source. Download the app today. KEEL.
It is 6:52 Keel Sports. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU snapped a 3-game losing streak and also won an SEC home game for the first time this season with their convincing 77-65 win over Texas A&M. Dwop Reith, coming off a career-high 31 points in Saturday's loss at Vanderbilt, led the Tigers with 21 points and 8 rebounds. Freshman Tremont Waters came through with 15 points, 9 assists, and 8 steals. LSU never trailed, opening a 6-0 lead early, 41-26 at the half, and then they actually saw the lead balloon up to 19 points in the second half. The Aggies whittled it down to 10 points on 7 different times, but LSU had none of that rally. North Caddo's Robert Williams led A&M with 21 points and 15 rebounds. LSU was out-rebounded 50-30, making this the first win while being out-rebounded by 20 or more since Dale Brown's team upset number 2 Georgetown in the Louisiana Superdome back in 1989. Arkansas overcame a 29-13 first-half deficit to beat Georgia on the road 80-77. That game also was in double overtime. This is the first road win for the Razorbacks all season long. And in last night's clash of the 1-4A Titans and high school hoops, 4th-ranked Bossier knocked off top-ranked Woodlawn 85-84 in double overtime. Junior Jacoby Decker led Bossier with 37 points. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Why are you chuckling at me?
I'm not. I'm just looking. It says Hot Box Juice Bar. And evidently in the computer area in our traffic department. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. The Rush Limbaugh deal got, in the hard drive, got relabeled. Now, it'll really be Rush. I mean, it's Rush, but it says Hot Box Juice Bar.
That or it's a really long juice bar
It's a
spot.
really long commercial.
We have some early results in our poll. 60% think the parade should stay on the Clyde Fant Parkway only.
Really?
20% wanted to leave it as it is. And another 20% return to a partial route in Bossier.
Gotta go. Rush Limbaugh right now coming up, or Hot Box Juice Bar right now on Keel.
Folks, we just don't see this. We do not see the Democrat media and the Democrat Party dumping all over its leaders for blowing it on government shutdowns. The Republicans always take it on the chin on shutdowns. The Republicans always get blamed. The Republicans are prepared to accept the blame. But this time, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats got rolled big time by President Trump. And the Democrats and the media know it, and they are not happy about it. This just doesn't happen. The Democrats are prepared to take the 2018 midterms, and this was going to be an important step, and it's been blown to smithereens. You've got activist groups saying that Chuck Schumer failed to lead, failed to keep a Democrat caucus together to fight for progressive values. Other groups issuing a joint statement calling Schumer and other Democrats weak-kneed. So Schumer has made a move. Schumer has announced that there will be no funding for a wall in any future deal, which Trump is demanding, or there won't be a deal. The deal's always been some money for the wall and border security in exchange for limited amnesty for the Dreamers, and Schumer is being beat up so bad he just stepped in it again. This is so delicious, I can't believe we're seeing it.
Hiring is important. People are what make your business work. But how do you find the right talent? ZipRecruiter makes it simple. One click sends your job ad to over 100 of the web's leading job boards. But ZipRecruiter doesn't stop there. Their smart matching technology will instantly alert quality candidates about your job. That means you'll start getting great candidates with the right experience almost as soon as your job is posted. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. The right candidates are out there. This is how you find them. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
People from businesses of all sizes trust ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. We're so confident ZipRecruiter will get you better results than anywhere else. We'll let you try it free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Everything's still running nice and smooth for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Swan Lake Road near Shed Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, sunny and pleasant with a high today of 61, clear with a low of 33 tonight, sunshine, high 64 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning. It's 3 past 7 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. KEEL app's a free download. Don't forget, Erin's got local news up next.
Fallout from the budget cuts announced by the governor. We'll have more on that. Crime numbers, kind of a mixed bag in Shreveport. We'll be talking more about that. And convicted killer Brian Horn takes his case to the state Supreme Court.
African American football players have chosen all season long, some of them, to take a knee. Are they protesting the wrong thing? I'll tell you next what they ought to be protesting. I'll tell you what they really should be protesting, but it's the hand that feeds them. Plus Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, and it's all coming up this hour, and it's right here on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Good news and bad for crime in Shreveport. Matt Parker takes a closer look.
The 2017 crime numbers are in for Shreveport, and while crime did increase, there is a silver lining. Overall, crime was up 1% in the city. Murders, auto thefts, and business robberies all increased last year. Numbers in other areas saw a significant drop. However, Deputy Chief Bill Gooden says that over the past 3 months, crime has trended downward, and the department is making great strides to make the city safer. From 1017 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
On the crime front, a woman wounded in a knife attack in Shreveport's Moortown neighborhood. It happened at a club on Hollywood at about 1 this morning. 2 women got into a fight. One pulled a knife and stabbed the other. The victim is expected to survive. Convicted killer Brian Horn before the state Supreme Court, making the first of what many experts believe will be several appeals to save his life. Horn was convicted and sentenced to die for killing 12-year-old Justin Bloxam. Horn's attorneys continue to maintain that he's guilty, but the death was accidental, and Horn should not get the death penalty. Their appeal focuses on what they believe are dozens of errors made in the case. A ruling is not expected for several months. The Caddo School Board votes to renew the charter for the Magnolia School of Excellence. The school's performance grade recently dropped from a D to an F. Many, including NAACP President Lloyd Thompson, say the school has failed students in Caddo Parish. Magnolia's board agreed to work with the school system to improve academics and performance. The Lakeside School in Minden announces they will no longer broadcast the Lord's Prayer to kick off each day. The decision made after the school was sued by a parent whose daughter attended. The suit detailed more than 30 incidents where the school allegedly unconstitutionally forced religion onto students. The plan for a new Jimmy Davis Bridge is still up in the air. State Senator Barrow Peacock tells KEEL News he's very confused about what's happening now.
2 years ago, the contract to rehab the bridge was canceled. And they said, we're going to do a new bridge, 4-lane pedestrian crossing, which is what really needs to be done. And then they started talking about what we need local government to take over the existing bridge and turn it into. That was never part of an agreement. That was all another delay tactic.
The options are between a new 4-lane bridge and a combination of a new bridge and a rehabbed old bridge. The environmental assessment should be complete this fall. Governor John Bel Edwards' worst-case scenario budget is making waves around the state from both inside and outside of government. State Senator Greg Tarver of Shreveport telling KEEL News our state is in crisis.
We have problems in this state. We got to solve the fiscal problem in this state, or it's going to take down Louisiana and every organization that runs by Louisiana.
Tarver says if we don't fix the problem, all public hospitals in the state would have to close. The state has until July 1st to address the fiscal cliff. Change is coming to the Caddo Animal Shelter. Caddo Commissioner Matthew Lynn tells us workers will be better trained on how to use all the equipment they do have.
Also with, kicking and screaming when things aren't going right, I need to compliment them when things are going well. And I'm complimenting Caddo Parish Animal Services right now because they are headed in the right direction and they are doing a good job.
There is a public meeting to talk about animal services. It kicks off tomorrow at 2. Feed Your Soul is the new brand Louisiana will use to promote tourism to the state. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser hopes the slogan will target travelers who are in constant pursuit of enjoyment.
You can feed your soul with the music, with the food, with the culture, the history, the outdoors. We have so many ways to feed your soul here. It rang out among all the other options.
Nungesser hopes the slogan will target travelers who are in constant pursuit of enjoyment. Super Bowl 52 in Minneapolis right around the corner. So when will the game be back to New Orleans? CEO of the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation, Jay Cicero, says Super Bowl host sites are booked through 2022, but New Orleans would like to host the game in 2023.
Currently, we are working closely with Mr. Benson and the leadership of the New Orleans Saints to convince the NFL to invite New Orleans to bid.
Shreveporter Ryan Harrison chosen to his third U.S. Davis Cup team. Harrison and company will take on Serbia in the first round of action, which is set to begin February 2nd. The Shape of Water picks up 13 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture. 9 movies will be competing for that trophy. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Good morning. It's 11 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Traffic update time. Ruben's here.
The intersection at West 70th Street and Mansfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Hamilton Road near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be a nice day with sunshine and a high of 61, then clear tonight, low 33. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, high 64. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zare.
No, I'm not going to do that voice.
Oh, come on.
In my memory, that's kind of how my grandmother talked.
Was talk like that, honey, baby, sweetie.
My grandmother talked like that. And she had the ultimate Southern name. My grandmother's name was Mattie Spruill from Slocum, Texas.
What a great Southern neighborhood name.
Texuzz, Texas. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 13 after 7 o'clock. Keel app's a free download from Office Furniture Source. Okay, we'll start here. See, you guessed right where this segment's going to start, but you don't know where it's going to go.
I never know where it's going to go with you.
Well, sometimes neither do we. Where did you guess correctly when I said in the tease at the top of the hour, NFL? Well, you said where you think it's going to go, or start rather.
Well, I just assumed you were going to discuss the fact that the NFL turned down an ad for their program where basically it was Super Bowl program
from a veterans group,
from a group that was advocating people standing for the national anthem.
And just when you think they might have figured it, just when they sort of had a lid, look at the look on your face. They did what?
Really?
The National Football League has rejected an advertisement a veterans group wanted to run in this year's Super Bowl.
Are you kidding me?
The ad asked for donations. Organization aims to enhance and safeguard the entitlements for those who have served in the military. But, and this is where the league found offense, it was marked by large lettering conveying a message relating to the league's players' protests during the national anthem, "Please stand." The message, expressed as a hashtag, has been problematic for the NFL. See, the NFL figured, well, look, if we just turn this ad down, we kind of, the controversy has sort of died.
Right.
Neither of the teams in the Super Bowl, in fact, in the conference championships, neither of the four teams, none of the four teams, and certainly not the two in the Super Bowl, the league hasn't had their quote-unquote problem with black players kneeling, with a lot of players kneeling of all races, to be blunt about it, but it started with Colin Kaepernick.
And more people are back watching football. Now, they're saying this will be the lowest-rated Super Bowl of all time.
But here's the deal. Just when the NFL has sort of put the toothpaste back in the tube, they do this.
Yeah.
And they're getting way more bad publicity from this. I mean, it's almost like all the people who had forgiven the players for what they deemed to be an anti-America, anti-patriotic, anti-anthem stance. Well, they weren't standing, but you see the point. People had sort of put that back on the back burner. We're ready to give them a second chance. It's the Super Bowl. It's the NFL playoffs. Everybody loves that. We've forgotten about all the bad stuff from midseason. And now the NFL, trying to keep the toothpaste in the tube, does just the opposite.
Yeah.
Do you think this is going to be the end of Roger Goodell?
No.
You don't? Because you had the concussion thing a couple of years ago. That kind of got overlooked. Then you had the this controversy, and now...
the segue you have given me, my son.
Accidentally again.
No. That will not be the end of Roger Goodell. What should be the end of Roger Goodell is, and where African-American players and journalists and pundits and analysts have totally missed the boat except for one or two instances. Ms. McCarty, do you know what is the Rooney Rule?
No, what's the Rooney Rule?
Parkey, the National Football League has they call it the Rooney Rule. Do you know what it is?
Not exactly.
The Rooney Rule is a National Football League policy that requires teams to interview minority candidates for head coaching and senior football operations jobs. It is sometimes cited as an example of affirmative action, though there is no quota or preference given to minorities in the hiring of candidates. I'll reread the first sentence. The Rooney Rule is the National Football League policy, the rule, not the suggestion, not the idea.
It's the law.
The rule that requires teams to interview minority candidates for head coaching and senior football operations jobs. What team just spent $100 million to hire a new football coach? What? Parkey?
Would that be the Oakland Raiders?
Who just spent $100 million to hire John Gruden to be its football coach. Did the Raiders, did they interview any minority candidates? Did they consider anyone? They courted John Gruden in the media.
From jump, yeah.
For 30 or 45 or 60 days, which you know that they were dealing with him behind the scenes for longer.
Yeah.
Here is from one of the few who has made the point of the travesty of the joke that the Rooney Rule has become. This is from ESPN. They've got a column on their site called The Undefeated, which deals with African Americans in sports. NFL effectively shows it will no longer enforce the Rooney Rule. Roger Goodell sends a message, and it couldn't have been worse for black Americans.
Golly.
Okay, so you've got all these guys all season long kneeling down to protest fill in the blank.
Yeah.
I put to you that most of them have no idea what they're protesting. I mean, specifically, and it cost the NFL money, and it cost them viewers, and it cost them ratings, and it cost them advertisers. And like I said, just in the last month to 6 weeks has the NFL sort of put the toothpaste back in the tube, to use that phrase again. And yet, all those players that are demanding equality and are demanding fairness and are demanding that African Americans get the same rights as everybody else. Have you heard one player? Have you heard a single NFL player say one word about the hiring of John Gruden?
Not a peep.
Have you heard any nationally known black writer or broadcaster or analyst say one word about the Rooney Rule being stepped on by the Oakland Raiders?
No.
So they're out there protesting but then something comes along that's concrete, that's real. And they don't do a thing. You've got a look on your face.
I just, while you were discussing this, the Rooney Rule and the Oakland Raiders, I did a little Googling. Did you see the latest development in this?
No.
The Fritz Pollard Alliance, which is a diversity group that works with the NFL.
Right. Fritz Pollard was the first black guy in the NFL.
Well, they're sort of the watchdog that keeps an eye on the minority hiring practices in the NFL.
Don't tell me they're upset.
Oh, not only are they upset, but since they're saying the Raiders violated the Rooney Rule, guess what they want the Raiders to do to make up for that mistake?
What's that?
Hire Colin Kaepernick. I'm told by the league office. Hold on. Sorry about that. Here's the interesting part. This is from Mike Freeman. He's an NFL reporter. He says, here's the interesting part of this story. I'm told the league office told the Raiders, we looked out for you on the Rooney Rule. Now help us out by signing Kaepernick and help us end this collusion case.
He just says, see, we black guys went along with it. We looked the other way. He says, we help you on the Rooney Rule, i.e., we looked the other way when you violated your very own rule that advances blacks.
Yeah.
19 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel at 740.
We're going to have John Settle in studio with us to talk crime in Shreveport. He's still very concerned about the numbers.
And Erin puts her foot in the beehive.
Boy, did I.
So to speak, what are we talking about? If
Ouch.
you missed, it is coming up next on Keel. Right now, traffic time. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at North Market and North Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Shed Road near Swan Lake Spur in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be a nice day with sunshine and a high of 61, then clear tonight, low 33. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, high 64. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zare.
23 past 7 o'clock. Keel Sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU snapped a 3-game losing streak and also won an SEC home game for the first time this season with their convincing 77-65 win over Texas A&M. Dwop Reith, coming off a career-high 31 points in Saturday's loss at Vanderbilt, led the Tigers with 21 points and 8 rebounds. Freshman Tremont Waters came through with 15 points, 9 assists, and 8 steals. LSU never trailed, opening a 6-0 lead early, 41-26 at the half, and then they actually saw the lead balloon up to 19 points in the second half. The Aggies whittled it down to 10 points on 7 different times, but LSU had none of that rally. North Caddo's Robert Williams led A&M with 21 points and 15 rebounds. LSU was out-rebounded 50-30, making this the first win while being out-rebounded by 20 or more since Dale Brown's team upset number 2 Georgetown in the Louisiana Superdome back in 1989. Arkansas overcame a 29-13 first-half deficit to beat Georgia on the road 80-77. That game also was in double overtime. This is the first road win for the Razorbacks all season long. And in last night's clash of the 1-4A Titans and high school hoops, 4th-ranked Bossier knocked off top-ranked Woodlawn 85-84 in double overtime. Junior Jacoby Decker led Bossier with 37 points. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Update these numbers. 26 past 7 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. KeelNews.com is the website, and you can take Erin's poll.
Why did you make me do this?
Yeah.
Man,
I make
people
you do.
Are all on my butt.
I just make you.
Yeah.
Here's the deal, and Erin put this poll up about the, and it was a Lou Burnett article from Hayride.
May he rest in peace. He was a really good guy. And if you haven't heard, Lou Gehrig Burnett died.
Last thing he wrote, and it was about the routes, the Mardi Gras parade routes.
Yeah, he always was up on that one.
And he didn't like the East Kings Highway route.
No, and he was.
Now, did he live in that neighborhood?
He did.
Well, there you go.
Absolutely. And he was stuck in his home. You know, like all of us, we get stuck in our homes. You either got to get out before they shut the roads down, or you got to just hunker down.
Or you embrace the festivities.
Or
and
you go out.
But
I'm going to be honest with you.
Let me ask you, do you think people in New Orleans, where they have a billion Mardi Gras parades, we've got 3 pretty big ones, maybe 4, you get the idea.
Sure.
4 or 5 total. And do you think the people in New Orleans, in the neighborhoods up and down St. Charles or wherever the parades,
veterans, yeah.
Do you think they complain? Oh, it's Mardi Gras. I've never heard anybody in the Highland neighborhood complain about the Highland parade here every year.
Well, there's lots of ways in and out in Highland. You have lots of ways to get around that.
And what people are saying, what they're putting on our website in your poll, they're all, well, we need to start at the CenturyLink Center.
Yeah.
Let me explain something to everybody. That might be an awesome idea, but it ain't never going to happen.
Right.
Because bluntly put, Bossier does it. Bossier, as a friend of mine says, as a friend of mine in Bossier political circles says, by moving the parade all to Shreveport, his line was, we get all the benefits and none of the trouble.
Yep. Here's our poll. If you want to take it, it's online now at KeelNews.com. What route should Shreveport's Mardi Gras take? Leave it the way it is. Keep it on the Clyde Fant Parkway only. return to a partial route in Bossier City, or I don't care. And right now, leave it the way it is winning with about 48%. Folks back to Bossier, 26%. 23% say leave it on the Parkway only, and another 2% don't give a crap.
Dear 26%. It's not going back to Bossier.
No, it's not.
Don't know how to break this to you.
We did have a suggestion about reversing the route, starting at Preston and going the other way. Why wasn't that an option? They tried that one year, and there were a lot of logistical issues.
Well,
because it would start in daytime there in the neighborhood, and the neighborhood like that. At least it's over at nighttime. It's done, and y'all are out of here. So that is another option, but I didn't include it, and I apologize for that. But they tried that, and I don't think they'll ever go back to that.
Website is KEELnews.com. Hit the website, take the poll, make Erin a hero in the digital world. 29 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Erin has local news up next. Right now, traffic. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Lakeshore Drive near Juella Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be a nice day with sunshine and a high of 61, then clear tonight, low 33. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, high 64. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zare.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Lots of folks are not happy about the budget the governor presented to lawmakers, including drastic cuts. But Stephen Wagasback with the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry says the budget presented to lawmakers is really quite an embarrassment.
So the budget's presented, it's so not worth taking serious that even the administration themselves, as they're saying, is basically saying don't pay attention to this. Okay, so administration has found nothing that they can cut. Not $1 that they support cutting. So they must want a tax-only solution. The governor said he wants $1 billion.
Lawmakers and the governor trying to clear up that fiscal cliff, the $1 billion deficit, by July 1. The crime numbers for last year for Shreveport are in. While crime did increase, there is a silver lining. Overall, crime up 1%. Murders, auto thefts, and business robberies are up, but numbers in other areas saw a significant decrease. Convicted child killer Brian Horn went before the state Supreme Court, making the first of what many experts believe will be several appeals to try to save his life. Horn was convicted and sentenced to die for murdering 12-year-old Justin Bloxam. Horn's attorneys say that he is guilty, but the death was accidental, and Horn should not get the death penalty. Their appeal focuses on what they believe are dozens of errors made in the case. A ruling is not expected for several months. Charter school gets renewed. Matt Parker with that.
The Caddo Parish School Board voted 10-1 to renew the charter for the Magnolia School of Excellence. The school's performance grade recently dropped from a D to an F. Many, including NAACP President Lloyd Thompson, say the school has failed students in Caddo Parish. Magnolia's board agreed to work with the school system to improve academics and performance. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
Another education note today, the Lakeside School in Mendon will no longer broadcast the Lord's Prayer to begin each day. The decision made after the school was sued by a parent whose daughter attended. The suit detailed more than 30 incidents where the school allegedly unconstitutionally forced religion onto the students. What is going to happen with the Jimmy Davis Bridge? Will we get a new bridge or a rehabbed old one? No final decision's been made, but State Senator Barrow Peacock says we need something done soon.
We need this bridge. Infrastructure is important to our economic future in our state. We have to invest in infrastructure. We have to get the Jimmy Davis Bridge finished. We have to get 3132 completed to our port. We have to work on I-49 through the inner city.
The environmental assessment expected to be complete by this fall. Feed Your Soul. That's the new brand Louisiana will use to promote tourism to the state. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser says the new brand will be rolled out on Mardi Gras Day with Branded Louisiana. He says it'll be a big event across Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, and Washington, D.C. to try to lure in potential travelers.
On Mardi Gras Day, we will be in 4 cities. We'll have a food truck giving out king cake and embracing the media in those 4 areas.
Witnesses describe students running silently for their lives as a gunman opened fire in a Kentucky high school. 16-year-old Alexandria Caporelli says no one screamed during the shooting at Marshall County High in western Kentucky. A 15-year-old male student has been arrested in connection with the shooting, which left 2 classmates dead. A dozen others suffered gunshot wounds. Shreveporter Ryan Harrison chosen to his 3rd U.S. Davis Cup team. Harrison and the team will take on Serbia in the first round of action, which is set to begin February 2nd. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Good morning. It's 736, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Early line on the Super Bowl is New England minus, what is it, 5.5, 6?
Did they move it? It was 7.5. I'm not sure.
I'd take 5.5.
Would you really?
Oh, yeah.
You'll take the Patriots minus 5.5?
Yeah.
Or you want...
Yeah, I think the Patriots win by way more than that.
Do you really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Easy, a touchdown win.
Really?
Easy.
It's 5.5 now.
That's what I thought.
I'd take that.
I saw this a couple of nights ago.
Do you know someone?
Hmm?
Do you know someone?
Perhaps I do, perhaps I don't. And if I do, we're not related.
Okay, good. Same hairline, though?
No, I don't know who you're talking about. No, a very hirsute fellow. So I saw this a couple of nights ago, and this was astonishing to me. I mean, it's just awesome the way football works.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who is going to get? You may have seen this, Parky.
Oh, I know this story. It's great.
Do you know who's going to get it's either who's going to get a $79,000 bonus because the Patriots made the Super Bowl?
Gisele Bündchen.
Nope. Good guess, though.
Who?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Really?
Who has played for the 49ers since midseason. But he was
started on the roster.
Yes. And he was on the roster long enough.
He contributed.
If you're on the roster for X number of games, then you are eligible for this bonus. If the Patriots make the Super Bowl, which they did, $79,000. If the Patriots win the Super Bowl,
even more,
$112,000 more.
Ooh, I wonder who he's cheering for.
So he could make probably about $190,000.
Wow!
For not even being
eating sausage balls.
For not even being on the team. So, Mr. John Settle joins us in a couple of seconds. What's this going to be about?
He's got a burr under his saddle about crime.
So, John's taking up equestrian riding.
Yeah, I think he is. I think
awesome.
he might be.
Would you like to be more specific?
He says we still have a crime problem, even though some of the numbers may show some improvement. When you have 50 murders in a year, you got to do something.
7:39. It's 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic time. Now, here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Lakeshore Drive near Juella Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, sunny and pleasant with a high today of 61, clear with a low of 33 tonight, sunshine, high 64 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
We could make money.
Mr. John just made a point. He said
Yeah.
people would pay to hear what goes on, and we can't.
When we're off the air, yeah.
We
should do that one day. Just let a little thing, set up a little camera, turn it on, let it go.
That's
now
because
you need to know there could be some foul language.
Yeah.
There could be some libel or slander going on.
That's where okay. The video feed that's on the KEEL Facebook page and the KEEL YouTube channel, that is not under the aegis, if you will, of the FCC.
No, it's not.
But slander and libel laws do apply.
Yeah, so that's why they turn us off when the commercials are on. You
Especially
cannot hear
when
that.
it's on videotape.
Oh,
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty in studio is Mr. John Settle. Okay, we were looking for a term to define your current role in Shreveport society. And I said, muckraker.
That sounds negative.
The term muckraker is used to characterize reform-minded American journalists who attacked establishment institutions and leaders as corrupt. They typically had large audiences in some popular magazines of the 19th century.
I like Watchdog.
So, you old muckraker, you. Mr. John Settle is here. What brings you to our beautiful little studios?
I addressed the council yesterday on the crime in Shreveport, and I think that is a bigger issue than the mayor is acknowledging.
They're saying that the numbers are better in almost all categories except murders and a couple of others, that we're showing improvement.
Let me add on to that before you let me add to that before you start talking. If they can say that all day, but the vox populi, the sense of the people is that things are bad, and there is no, and that is in all Shreveport demographics.
First off, the mayor said yesterday that crime in 2017 was higher than in 2016. Then she quickly segued to say that it's trending better because the last 3 months of the year, the numbers improved.
Mm-hmm.
But first of all, the mayor said the crime stats for 2017 are higher than 16.
Up 1% overall. Is that correct?
So the percentage I'm not quite
Okay.
sure of. So that's a fact we
But
need to address.
murders, where are we on that? That's what everybody hears. What's the number?
And shootings, etc.
Well, murders, reported murders were 50 for last year. If you talk to inside police officers, they say that probably 8 of the 8, quote, that were classified as justifiable homicides, probably 4 of those were murders. So there's a big question if numbers and statistics are being played with to keep the numbers down.
Okay, Mr. Raker, let me go from this angle.
You can call him Muck.
Can you blame local politicos for a situation that is, for the most part, sociological? Is it really Ollie Tyler's or any other Shreveport elected official's fault that people are out there shooting each other?
Let's look at it this way. Crime and murders in New York City and in Los Angeles decreased in 2017 from their numbers in 2016. Murders and serious crimes in Baltimore increased in 2017, and the mayor recently fired the police chief. Like it or not, Mayor Tyler has appointed this police chief, and this police chief must be responsible or take responsibility for the crime stats. And you can use any justification, socioeconomics, crimes of passion, et cetera, et cetera. The buck has got to stop somewhere. So it could either be Police Chief Crump or Mayor Tyler.
Should the chief be fired?
That's a political decision. The real question is, should Mayor Tyler have ever selected Crump to be the chief?
Is he qualified to be chief?
If you review his records and some of the columns I wrote, his scores on the exam were in the top or the bottom 3, and his police experience had basically been a school resource officer. Most people who looked at the qualifications of the candidate believed that he was a very poor choice unless you use his religious background and his degree as religious background and affiliation with the mayor. I believe he's a second cousin.
What do you mean by that? People have said that underlying that they go to church together or something. What do we know?
Chief Crump has received a divinity degree from a local ministry school in Shreveport. I forget the name. I don't know if they're church members together or second cousins. It doesn't matter to me. It seems that his law enforcement experience is very poor compared to the other candidates that were
Would
available.
you say the choice of Chief Crump by Mayor Tyler was one born of inexperience?
By the mayor? Or I think it's typical of a lot of the appointments by Mayor Tyler, who oftentimes, in my opinion, utilizes loyalty and past friendships as a major criteria for selecting key people.
Let me ask you this. If you were to give if the mayor were to say, what are some innovative ideas? What are some ways that we can stop the shootings and the murders in Shreveport? Do you have some I know you don't want to just come on the radio and be the critic. Do you have ideas for how to change it?
I'm not trained in law enforcement. I think you can talk to if some of the current police officers would discuss this, perhaps the president of the union or prior police maybe Rod Demery or some of the retired policemen. You could get ideas on effective law enforcement in the year 2017 and 18. That's not my background, but there are a lot of ideas floating around. But I believe there's plenty of experts, plenty of local people that could make positive change.
You said you spoke to the council. How did they react? Well, first of all, sort of summarize what you said to them, and then they looked at you and said,
the mayor is somewhat defensive. Actually, there was not too much said about it because I addressed the issue of the tax renewal coming up. I talked about crime, and then my primary purpose for being there was to give a eulogy to Lou Burnett. But after hearing about the tax renewal and the crime stats, I just spoke on that. So there wasn't much reaction from the administration. The council doesn't select the police chief, so they don't have a vote.
I know you were around back when we had 80-plus murders back in the 80s and early 90s.
I don't care about that.
And then we've dropped, but now we're climbing back up.
I'm tired of the justification, and I told the council and mayor yesterday of saying, well, if you go back 10 years, we're better than 10 years. I was here then, but we're talking about 2017 and 2018. I don't care about the old days and how bad it was. I care about today. So I'm tired of that justification of, well, it's better than it was 10 years ago. That to me, doesn't wash.
How does it compare in the last couple of years? You'll hear former Mayor Glover tell you that he had 20 murders in one of his years as mayor. And what was it? Was he doing anything different? What was going on?
Well, society's changed a lot. I really don't have all those numbers, and I'm not sure. That's not my expertise, but I do know that to me that number's unacceptable. Other cities have taken proactive that have been effective, and other cities, when the police chief didn't deliver, he lost his job. I pointed out Baltimore this last week, and I pointed out stats in New York and L.A., and those cities have major sociological issues too.
John Settle, muckraker, community watchdog.
Can you hang on? We've got another short segment after Your Money Now. Can you stick around a couple of seconds?
I want to ask you what the crime numbers are doing to Shreveport.
749, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Your Money Now just ahead. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Lakeshore Drive near Juella Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Here's your KeelAccuWeather.com forecast. Kind of sunny and warm, 60 again today. Right now, 34 degrees, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Here comes Your Money Now. It is 8 before 8 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU snapped a 3-game losing streak and also won an SEC home game for the first time this season with their convincing 77-65 win over Texas A&M. Dwop Reith, coming off a career-high 31 points in Saturday's loss at Vanderbilt, led the Tigers with 21 points and 8 rebounds. Freshman Tremont Waters came through with 15 points, 9 assists, and 8 steals. LSU never trailed, opening a 6-0 lead early, 41-26 at the half, and then they actually saw the lead balloon up to 19 points in the second half. The Aggies whittled it down to 10 points on 7 different times, but LSU had none of that rally. North Caddo's Robert Williams led A&M with 21 points and 15 rebounds. LSU was out-rebounded 50-30, making this the first win while being out-rebounded by 20 or more since Dale Brown's team upset number 2 Georgetown in the Louisiana Superdome back in 1989. Arkansas overcame a 29-13 first-half deficit to beat Georgia on the road 80-77. That game also was in double overtime. This is the first road win for the Razorbacks all season long. And in last night's clash of the 1-4A Titans and high school hoops, 4th-ranked Bossier knocked off top-ranked Woodlawn, 85-84 in double overtime. Junior Jacoby Decker led Bossier with 37 points. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
We got just about a minute, Rat. 756, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Mr. John Settle is here, and he's talking about Shreveport crime. He spoke before the city council yesterday and maybe raised a couple of eyebrows, which is all you can hope for when you're a muckraker.
He's concerned that we've had, 50 official murders last year. And I want to ask you, John, the root of all this is that it's causing some people to leave Shreveport.
We got about 45 seconds. Pardon me. Okay, go ahead.
That's accurate, correct? People are looking to move to Bossier or elsewhere.
I think there's a lot of reasons people are moving to Bossier, and unfortunately for Shreveport, the Money Magazine report that just came out saying it's the best city in Louisiana to live in is not good news for Shreveport. My office is in Bossier. It has been for 20 years. A lot of it is white flight because of schools and also a lower crime rate and some other factors.
John Settle, local community watchdog. I hope you'll come back and join us another time.
Thank you.
That's what I meant, community watchdog.
Yeah.
Local news coming up just after Fox News on KEEL. And what? You're waving?
Yeah, Ryan Getty, State Senator Ryan Getty is going to join us in studio. He's going to talk about the budget fiscal cliff.
Cliff. Here's Hannity on KEEL.
The truth and nothing but. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
At least 65 major companies now have given American workers bonuses and wage hikes due to the Trump tax reform bill recently signed into law by the president. Now, you'd think that's huge news. However, as per usual, the Destroy Trump fake news Big Three networks have virtually ignored this incredible success story. Now, according to Newsbusters, between January 1st and January 12th, well, there were only 2 stories mentioning companies handing out bonuses and raising wages. And one of those didn't even mention the decision's connection to the recent tax cuts. ABC World News Tonight with David Muir ignored the story entirely for 2 weeks. They'd rather peddle the false Trump-Russia collusion narrative a year later.
Keeping you on the straight path. Later today, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
I'm Jay Farner from Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.125%, APR 4.36%. But choosing the right mortgage lender involves so much more than just a rate. We've earned 12 J.D. Power Awards for client satisfaction. And we invented Rocket Mortgage, a simpler, hassle-free way to get a mortgage completely online. So choose Quicken Loans, America's #1 online lender. Call 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
People make your business work. But how do you find the right talent? ZipRecruiter. One click posts your job to over 100 top job boards. Then, smart matching technology instantly alerts quality candidates about your job. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
To try ZipRecruiter for free, just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on 3132 eastbound near I-49. And we have some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROW.
Here's your KeelAccuWeather.com forecast. Kind of sunny and warm today. About 60 right now, 36 at Keel, 8 o'clock.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning, 8:03. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Oh, don't forget about that KEEL app. It is free, and it is presented by Office Furniture Source. Miss Erin, local news is up next.
Crime fighting in Shreveport. Are the numbers up or down? We'll have a mixed bag there. Brian Horn, the man sent to death for killing Justin Bloxam, takes his case to the state Supreme Court. And Magnolia Charter School, is the end near?
In the 6 o'clock hour, I quoted the classic film Ghostbusters. The dead rising from the grave, human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Is that basically what John Bell is saying about the fiscal cliff, his doomsday scenario? State Senator Ryan Gaddy here in a couple of seconds to tell us how he sees the whole mess. Fletcher and sports, traffic, and weather all coming up this hour, and it's here on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Good news and bad for crime in Shreveport. Matt Parker takes a closer look.
The 2017 crime numbers are in for Shreveport, and while crime did increase, there is a silver lining. Overall, crime was up 1% in the city. Murders, auto thefts, and business robberies all increased last year. Numbers in other areas saw a significant drop. However, Deputy Chief Bill Gooden says that over the past 3 months, crime has trended downward, and the department is making great strides to make the city safer. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
On the crime front, a woman wounded in a knife attack in Shreveport's Moortown neighborhood. It happened at a club on Hollywood at about 1 this morning. 2 women got into a fight. One pulled a knife and stabbed the other. The victim is expected to survive. Convicted killer Brian Horn before the state Supreme Court, making the first of what many experts believe will be several appeals to save his life. Horn was convicted and sentenced to die for killing 12-year-old Justin Bloxam. Horn's attorneys continue to maintain that he's guilty, but the death was accidental, and Horn should not get the death penalty. Their appeal focuses on what they believe are dozens of errors made in the case. A ruling is not expected for several months. The Caddo School Board votes to renew the charter for the Magnolia School of Excellence. The school's performance grade recently dropped from a D to an F.
Part of an agreement. That was all another delay tactic.
The options are between a new 4-lane bridge and a combination of a new bridge and a rehabbed old bridge. The environmental assessment should be complete this fall. Governor John Bell Edwards' worst-case scenario budget is making waves around the state from both inside and outside of government. State Senator Greg Tarver of Shreveport telling KEEL News our state is in crisis.
We have problems in this state. We got to solve the fiscal problem in this state, or it's going to take down Louisiana. And every organization that runs by Louisiana.
Tarver says if we don't fix the problem, all public hospitals in the state would have to close. The state has until July 1st to address the fiscal cliff. Change is coming to the Caddo Animal Shelter. Caddo Commissioner Matthew Lynn tells us workers will be better trained on how to use all the equipment they do have.
Also with, kicking and screaming when things aren't going right, I need to compliment them when things are going well. And I'm complimenting Caddo Parish Animal Services right now because they are headed in the right direction and they are doing a good job.
There is a public meeting to talk about animal services. It kicks off tomorrow at 2. Feed Your Soul is the new brand Louisiana will use to promote tourism to the state. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser hopes the slogan will target travelers who are in constant pursuit of enjoyment.
You can feed your soul with the music, with the food, with the culture, the history, the outdoors. We have so many ways to feed your soul here. It rang out among all the other options.
Nungesser hopes the slogan will target travelers who are in constant pursuit of enjoyment. Super Bowl 52 in Minneapolis right around the corner. So when will the game be back to New Orleans? CEO of the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation, Jay Cicero, says Super Bowl host sites are booked through 2022. But New Orleans would like to host the game in 2023.
Currently, we are working closely with Mr. Benson and the leadership of the New Orleans Saints to convince the NFL to invite New Orleans to bid.
Shreveporter Ryan Harrison chosen to his third U.S. Davis Cup team. Harrison and company will take on Serbia in the first round of action, which is set to begin February 2nd. The Shape of Water picks up 13 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture. 9 movies will be competing for that trophy. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Eleven past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping a close eye on some heavy backed up traffic on 3132 eastbound. It's backed up from I-49 to Mansfield Road right now. And we're looking at some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, sunny and pleasant with a high today of 61, clear with a low of 33 tonight, sunshine, high 64 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Good morning. It's 13 past 8 o'clock. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Office Furniture Source presents the KEEL app. It's a free download. In studio for a bit is State Senator Ryan Gaddy. Hey, Mr. Ryan, how are you this morning? Thank you for joining us.
Doing great this morning. Thank y'all for having me on.
Okay,
Look at this. Wait, no, wait.
No, go ahead.
I just Googling Ryan, seeing what he's up to and all this, and this headline pops up. I'm glad it's breaking news. It says Senator Gaddy warns upcoming session will be a bloodbath. Oh, wait, that's January 2017. Nothing's changed,
Not
has
at all.
it?
It's like Groundhog Day. Everything's the same. We just kind of wake up every January and no one has a plan. And it's really neat, though, to kind of, it's kind of doing heart surgery while the heart's still beating.
Well, pardon me, you're the state senator, though. Why aren't you part of a plan?
Well, we are. So what we've kind of cobbled together for this, what's been called a fiscal cliff, it's really not the monumental issue that we've had the last couple of years. First of all, because we had no mid-year cuts. With the independent House and the governor's office really working together with some friction, they made a budget that came in with $120 million surplus.
You call that friction? I mean, that's like saying that the Japanese and the Americans had friction in 1942.
Well, they're friends now,
So I mean, is friction a bit of an understatement?
A lot of the friction that we see, and I can say this because I'm on the front row of the Senate. I literally sit on the front row. Is a lot of that friction is kind of like the sizzle on the steak. It's a sales pitch. A lot of it's political. But we're not that far apart.
So pardon me, when John Bell says it's like Alba says, disaster is imminent. When Greg Tarver on this show yesterday said hospitals will close, I likened it earlier to the line from Ghostbusters: dead rising from the grave, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. Is that just politics to sort of set the stage to get people behind them for what they want?
Well, I think what it really is they're being honest by taking a snapshot of the budget that's been proposed. It's the same thing Jindal did when he would propose his budgets for the 4 or 5 years that he didn't have a huge surplus. He would say, guys, I have to present you with this budget. It has a lot of cuts in it. You can either find revenue or find other cuts.
But John Bell, the first thing John Bell says is, we're $1 billion apart. We need $1 billion. So I'm thinking we cut TOPS, we cut higher education, we cut health care to poor people. Is that's either legit or it's not? Is he being overly dramatic? Is he trying to scare the kids?
No, I think he's really stating the functional procedures of our budgeting process. Step one is the governor presents a budget based on projected revenue. That is he either anticipates a surplus or he anticipates a deficit. This year, because the sales tax has fallen off, we have to anticipate a deficit in our forecast. I'm okay with cutting some things. I'm okay with cutting what we need to cut. This is a year. This is our budget. There's no one-time money being spent. I mean, for years we were spending one-time money for reoccurring expenses.
Where do you want to cut?
Well, there's some places where we can cut in DHH, some surgical cuts. That's about a $9 billion part of our budget. You can cut some there, and it's not fraud, waste, and abuse like folks are saying. It's going to be cuts that we feel. There's going to be some cuts that we can make at DOTD, and there's some cuts we can make just across the board.
Why don't we make it cuts that the state feels? Why does it always have to be cuts that I feel, or that you feel, or that Erin feels, or that kids down the road feel? Why don't we do some cuts that state feels?
Well, it's like the simplest way to put it, when I've done 40 town halls, that question always comes up, whether in Castor, Plain Dillon, Bossier City Hall, or even last night at the Women's Republican of Bossier. And the reason that we have only a small area that we can make cuts is because a large part of our budget is federal funds, which fluctuates up and down depending on how poor we are, basically. The second part of the budget that we can't touch are statutory dedications, and we've examined that since I've been elected in 24 months. We have had 3 thorough rundowns in the Senate of statutory dedications, and we have a special committee right now that is looking at every statutory dedication. And
may I get one more quick?
Go ahead.
Then why have we reached the point here in the state of Louisiana where the only thing we can touch are the areas which cause pain to the public?
Well, I'll tell you, that's a unique question. I've thought about it and prayed about it a lot. And what I think happened is when those dedications were made, either constitutionally or statutorily, no one ever anticipated we'd have a governor like Jindal, who would overestimate revenue, underestimate expenses, and then, as C.B. Ferguson wrote, and this article caused me to run for office, Jindal would start the budget knowing that it wasn't a true budget. And then 45 days into the budget, he'd have to call the joint budget in to cut $500 million out.
You mean like now?
Well, no, we're not doing any mid-year cuts. What we're saying is, which is what we need to do as a state, we need to say, look, we're not going to do any gimmicks in this budget. And that upsets a lot of people. And when you don't do gimmicks and you do true budgeting, you do the cuts before the budget starts. You don't do the cuts after the budget starts. And that's why this year we didn't have any cuts after the budget started. And now that's a unique principle. I mean, it's like when Enron changed from the agency model to the merchant model and how they valued their stock. That was a little more aggressive. And we were all reading those reports as if they were in the merchant model.
I'm not sure you want to relate the state of Louisiana to Enron.
Well, I'll tell you, when my mom called me and said, how did orientation go? And I said, Mom, look, I've sat on a lot of boards. I've been on boards at churches where we've done budgeting. I said, I feel like I got elected to the board of Enron after Madoff left. This is bad. And so what we did basically, Robert, is we changed the way that we budget. And we've worked alongside with not just the governor, but the House, and that has happened. And this discussion we're having right now about doing budget cuts before the budget starts really hasn't happened before.
State Senator Ryan Getty, I have a couple of questions. I want to do some rapid fire for you when we get back.
If we go to break now, I promise you get every question.
You'll shut up?
Every question you get in the second segment.
Okay, good.
19 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM. Oh, I thought the Enron one was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
19 past 8, traffic update on KEEL. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping a close eye on some heavy backed up traffic on 3132 eastbound. It's backed up from I-49 to Mansfield Road right now. And we're looking at some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, sunny and pleasant with a high today of 61, clear with a low of 33 tonight, sunshine, high 64 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
.821 Sports Time on KEEL. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU snapped a 3-game losing streak and also won an SEC home game for the first time this season with their convincing 77-65 win over Texas A&M. Dwop Reith, coming off a career-high 31 points in Saturday's loss at Vanderbilt, led the Tigers with 21 points and 8 rebounds. Freshman Tremont Waters came through with 15 points, 9 assists, and 8 steals. LSU never trailed, opening a 6-0 lead early, 41-26 at the half, and then they actually saw the lead balloon up to 19 points in the second half. The Aggies whittled it down to 10 points on 7 different times, but LSU had none of that rally. North Caddo's Robert Williams led A&M with 21 points and 15 rebounds. LSU was out-rebounded 50-30, making this the first win while being out-rebounded by 20 or more since Dale Brown's team upset number 2 Georgetown in the Louisiana Superdome back in 1989. Arkansas overcame a 29-13 first-half deficit to beat Georgia on the road 80-77. That game also was in double overtime. This is the first road win for the Razorbacks all season long. And in last night's clash of the 1-4A Titans and high school hoops, 4th-ranked Bossier knocked off top-ranked Woodlawn, 85-84 in double overtime. Junior Jacoby Decker led Bossier with 37 points. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.824, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. State Senator Ryan Gaddy here for another segment. I promised you all the questions.
Here, Ryan, is my main issue.
Robert, did you have any other questions before we go to Erin?
I want to wait until she gets right before she
He'll
finishes
interrupt.
the question.
Trust me, he'll interrupt.
I know he will.
We 2 years ago passed the temporary penny. Okay,
Right. Mm-hmm.
My big issue with you and every other lawmaker that sits in that chair and everyone I talk on the phone, it's been 2 years. We knew this was coming. We passed it temporarily, but it looks like we haven't done anything to correct the problem. Why?
Well, first of all, you have odd-numbered years that you deal with these kind of matters. 2016, we came into office. We had to just cobble together something to fix the 2015-16 problem and then to kind of forecast, without having real numbers, how to do this year's budget, and it worked, okay? The problem that we ran into is that we all agreed we'll vote for this temporary sales tax because in 2017 it's going to be top to bottom Trump-type reform.
Mm-hmm.
And so you set up this commission of Republicans and Democrats, and when they came back and said, hey, as economists, the people at the bottom don't pay anything and they can't pay, but the people at the top that make over $200 or $300 million a year, they don't pay anything either. So you got to pick which one you're going to do. And that didn't sit well with a lot of the people that had hoped they'd come back and say we have a spending problem. So then they just started attacking this blue ribbon committee and say, oh, it's the wrong people.
This was Dr. Richardson,
and
correct?
I mean, this guy, if you had any kind of economic problem in your business, this is the guy you would call.
Mm-hmm. So do you keep the penny tax on for another 2 years?
I mean, the problem...
If you had to vote today.
No, I drafted a bill last year to drop the state sales tax from 5 cents to 3 cents.
What about tops? I know you voted to change tops and make adjustments before. Would you do it again? And if so, to the governor's extent, 80% cuts to tops?
Well, I mean, I don't think anyone in leadership plans on cutting tops. I mean, we've made that promise to our children. We've made that has been the carrot that has got many kids from a C average to an A, to go from their ACT from a 25 to a 28 or a 30.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be funded. The governor hasn't cut tops. Those were the discretionary items that he was allowed to cut the $994 million out of. So, it's like if you go home to your home budget, if you have a bad month, you have to pay your homeowner's insurance, your house note,
Sure.
your car insurance, and your car note, or they'll come pick it up or repo it.
Right.
But, your yacht note, you need to let that go. And so the things that aren't dedicated, because the citizens have voted on a lot of these dedications way ahead of time. And what a dedication says is when you get into a hard time, you can't cut this thing.
Well, why didn't we undedicate it some of these during the last 2 years? Why didn't we take steps to do some of that?
I love this question because I sat through probably 8 days of testimony on statutory and constitutional dedications, and everybody would come up. You'd have to come from the hotel motel tax in Shreveport, say, why do you need this dedication? And the guy would sit down and say, well, when we passed this tax on our citizens, you told us it would be there, and we bonded that money to build a hotel or to fix a road or to do whatever we needed to do. So if you undedicate this money, we don't know what we're going to do because our bondholder is going to sue the state.
Right.
So a lot of the statutory dedications are bonded money, which is why we dedicated it.
Let me ask you this. The governor sent an email out. I don't know if it went to all lawmakers or just select, saying that he wanted a revenue neutral plan, wanted to get rid of the penny tax. And then some of the items he had in this email, and I'm going to read you the bottom of it, because I don't know if you got this or not. Expand the sales tax base to include services such as debt collection, insurance services, data processing, information services, cable and satellite services, repairs to real property. To me, that looks like you're going to take away the penny sales tax, but you're going to add taxes or fees.
Right.
And all these things are things that I use.
Right. And so this is, when everyone ran for office, we said we're going to look at dedications and exemptions. Okay. The problem with our sales tax is so many things are exempted that other states collect sales tax on, that when we look at the sales, now these aren't dedicated funds. That's a totally different animal. Like the first part of your paycheck you dedicate to your house note.
Right.
Okay, or your tithe to the church, whatever school you go to, you know. Well, exemptions are different. Like if you had a lobbyist to go down there and 20 years ago and lobby for an exemption on sweet potatoes.
Guess what? Sweet potatoes are sales tax free.
They're exempt. So at Walmart, when you buy everything, the sweet potato has a special code that says no sales tax. You see, so that is the problem. So I think, and what my research showed when I wanted to drop the sales tax from a 5 to 3 was that if you did, like Trump and like John Kennedy have said, make it a fair flat tax, flatten it out, which means the stuff that's exempted or the people that are exempted start to pitch in their fair share at the top and at the bottom, because everybody in the middle pays.
Right. You bet.
Okay, but I mean, everybody in the middle pays. And so where I get upset is when we go to those people at the bottom or the top and say it's time for you to pay. Well, they say, well, you just raise my taxes. And I'm like, no, I'm working on exemptions. I'm lowering the rate.
Yeah.
You see, so our problem in Louisiana is not so much statutory dedications. Most of those you and I would agree on if we read all 200 of them. Where we have the big problem is who's exempted. Sales tax is a big thing where we have exemptions. But I'll tell you, Erin, the biggest exemption I've found that really hurt us as far as roads and bridges, and this is a big one, it's $1 billion. It was the severance tax exemption that we gave horizontal drillers in the Haynesville Shale. I asked the legislative auditor what that number was, and over the time period of the boom of the Haynesville Shale, where every other state was collecting severance taxes for shale plays,
we weren't.
Jindal gave a 100% exemption. And let me tell you how that hurts us. If the three of us had some wells up in Oil City, and they're called stripper wells, don't want to offend anybody, and we pulled out a couple of barrels a day of oil. Well, we have to turn in a severance tax for that.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to pay that. Well, somehow these guys lobbied and said, hey, we're not going to drill in the shale unless you give us a severance tax exemption. Now, listen, when I bring that topic up, that it was $1.14 billion, you know what the roads would look like on I-20 right now?
Oh, yeah.
If Caddo Parish would have gotten that money back.
Smooth like Texas, maybe.
Well, Texas, you see, didn't do that. So we have the problem with dedications. All right, we've researched that. That dog doesn't hunt. That's a red herring. Okay, the real issue that everybody's afraid to talk about, and where the big lobbyists are pouring their money into right now, so we don't talk about it, is their exemptions.
We got to stop. We got to do our news. Hope you'll come back. I know
Anytime.
it's going to be a busy spring for you guys.
Well, today I had to go get a part for my tractor at Shreveport Tractor. That's why I called you. I figured I'd kill two birds with one stone.
Well, tell them we said hello, please. And anytime they need someone to test drive a tractor, I'm it. I'm your girl.
We appreciate you stopping here first. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. You tell me, Lieutenant, Captain, Sergeant.
Deputy Chief Bill Gooden is going to join us at about 8:40. He's going to talk crime in Shreveport for 2017.
I was going to say Sergeant York. I was panicking down here. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Local news up next. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Line Avenue and Kings Highway is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near East Texas Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be a nice day with sunshine and a high of 61, then clear tonight, low 33. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, high 64. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zare.
of information. KEEL News now.
Convicted killer makes an appeal before the state Supreme Court. Matt Parker with an update.
Convicted child killer Brian Horn was before the Louisiana Supreme Court Tuesday, making the first of what many experts believe will be many appeals to save his life. Horn was convicted and sentenced to death in the murder of 12-year-old Justin Bloxam. Horn's attorney says that he is guilty, but the death was accidental and Horn should not get the death penalty. Their appeal focuses on what they believe are dozens of errors made in the case. A ruling is not expected for several months. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The crime numbers for last year are in for Shreveport. While crime did increase overall 1%, that shows murders, auto thefts, and business robberies are all up. Numbers in other areas saw a significant drop. More delays in deciding what to do about the Jimmy Davis Bridge.
These environmental assessments, anything that they can to delay these projects is frustrating. We need to change that. We hear this message from Washington, from the president. We're going to change the regulation. Well, Baton Rouge has to take the message and change the regulation too and start moving faster.
Senator Barrow Peacock, the environmental assessment in the latest is expected to be done by this fall. Caddo School Board votes to renew the charter for the Magnolia School of Excellence. The school's performance grade recently dropped from a D to an F. Many, including the NAACP president, say the school has failed students across the parish. Magnolia's board has agreed to work with the school system to improve academics and performance. More education news, this to Minden at the Lakeside School, where leaders announced they will no longer broadcast the Lord's Prayer at the beginning of every day. The decision made after the school was sued by a parent whose daughter attends that school. Louisiana's budget mess draws opinions from all sides. Shreveport Senator Greg Tarver telling KEEL News the cuts proposed by the governor are serious.
We're facing cutting our TOPS, Medicare for the poor. We're about to close all the hospitals in Louisiana because we do not have the necessary money. He told the truth. We've been kicking the can down the road ever since I came back to the Senate. And it's about time that we clear up our fiscal situation.
Now, Stephen Wagasback with the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry telling KEEL News the governor's budget package is laughable.
We don't know what the real answers are because we can't get real numbers.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, sunny and pleasant with a high today of 61, clear with a low of 33 tonight, sunshine, high 64 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Action which kicks off February 2nd. The LHSAA annual convention convening today, and on Friday, principals are set to vote on a number of proposals. A vote will not be taken on whether to end the split playoff in football, but North Vermilion principal Tommy Byler has a proposal to even up the number of schools that play each classification in an effort to prevent one or two win teams from making the playoffs on the non-select side.
We're at least having a pool of 45 teams in every division to pull from, hopefully, so you're avoiding some of these teams that in Class A automatically qualify just because they played.
Free-range parenting is a modern buzzword for families aiming to raise self-sufficient kids. But how much freedom, at what age, remains a fierce debate. Now a Utah lawmaker wants to make sure moms and dads don't find themselves under investigation for allowing mature kids with good judgment to do things alone, such as travel to school, explore a playground, or stay in their parents' car. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. This is Deputy Chief Bill Gooden with your Shreveport Police Department, and it is always my privilege to have an opportunity to talk to Erin and Robert in the morning. They do a tremendous job, and we appreciate their support. Thanks.
Good morning. It's 8:41. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Don't forget about the Shreveport security system. Shreveport. See, I'm just overwhelmed with the guests that you've managed to book this week, despite the fact that you don't know what time they're supposed to be here.
They just pop up.
Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. Joining us for a bit is
1884 or 1882.
392-1884.
Okay, thanks. I'm sorry.
318-392-1884. Shreveport Security Systems text line. See, by sounding inept, we've given Matt enough time to reboot the computer.
Yeah, we have.
Shreveport Deputy Chief of Police Bill Gooden is here. Hey, Mr. Bill, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I am well. Thank you for having me.
So 2017 crime numbers, there's some good and there's some bad. Let's start with the good.
Well, and you know, the standard caveat that we throw out there whenever we talk about statistics, and this is very important, statistics are important. They help us to identify emerging crime patterns. They help us to efficiently allocate our resources, and they're how we report information to the Department of Justice. But at the same time, it's incumbent upon us as police officers, as law enforcement officials, to understand that each one of these numbers we're about to talk about represents a victim, a person who has suffered some sort of loss, and that's not lost on us. And we understand that we are their advocates. We have to be that victim advocate role. So we saw about a 1% overall increase in total crimes from 2016 to 2017. There were some areas that and again, let me be clear, when I talk about we, I'm talking about the community. I'm being inclusive, not exclusive of the police department, because, you know, law enforcement is a unique business, and that most of the time our successes come about as a result of good folks in neighborhoods all across this city stepping up and refusing to tolerate criminal activity in their neighborhoods. So it's a community effort, literally. But we did make some tremendous strides, especially towards the end of the year, coming into the last quarter, and we saw some decreases in some pretty big categories of crime. Robberies, in particularly, were down tremendously the last quarter in a time when we normally see them go up. So we did, as a community, as a police department, make some tremendous strides.
Mr. Bill, do you see the public perception may be the opposite of that people around Shreveport, community, no matter the community, no matter the part of town, might see crime, especially violent crime, as bad as it's ever been?
Well, and that's one of the challenges that we face daily as a police department is getting that message out there and making sure that we're engaging the public and dealing with that perception of crime as well.
The homicides. John Settle was in earlier and said, 50 murders in a year is unacceptable.
Well,
and he didn't want to look back into the 80s when we had the 80 or whatever. He said, what I care about is today. And I kind of get his point.
Absolutely. And I'll take it a step further to say that one homicide is unacceptable. A single homicide, the taking of a life, the most egregious offense, is unacceptable. And so we are again, working very proactively. And what we've seen, and certainly without speaking very broadly, without speaking to one specific case, is that many times when we work a homicide, what we see is what we call a relationship-based crime, where we have at least two individuals involved in a dispute, where at some point during the course of that altercation, one or both makes a conscious decision to resolve that conflict inappropriately with violence. And so what we try to do, in addition to working with the community and empowering them, is to make sure that we focus on those things that we know have the potential to end with violence: domestic abuse cases, narcotics cases, cases where we apprehend folks who are illegally carrying firearms, or a convicted felon who's in possession of a firearm. So we're going to continue to drill down and focus on those type of crimes, and we believe that we can have a tangible positive impact on those numbers.
Bill, we're talking to Deputy Chief Bill Gooden with Shreveport Police Department. I've spoken to an area law enforcement top honcho. I'm not going to name names, but this person told me if I had a crime problem like Shreveport does, I'd have very few, if any, people still on desk jobs. I'd have people ride in the neighborhoods, walk in the neighborhoods, on bicycles in the neighborhood. My presence would be felt. Is that possible? Is that realistic?
Well, and of course, asset allocation, and our most valuable resource, literally and figuratively, are the people that work here. And if you would indulge me for just a second,
you bet.
Let me give a shameless plug to the men and women who work for the Shreveport Police Department every day. They come in, they put this uniform on, they do a difficult, dangerous job, and they do it with no fanfare and very few accolades. And I would, and you know I've said this many times, and every time I have an opportunity to do it, I do, that I would put the men and women who so proudly wear this badge up against any in the country. So just wanted to put that out there, and that's important. So when we talk about allocating those resources, decisions have to be made literally every day about how we're going to do that. And certainly I think Chief Crump has been clear since the beginning of his tenure as chief that he is willing to make changes. And he has done that, and we are continuing to do that.
Tell us about that. What changes have been made to address crime?
Well, and for instance, and we can talk about things that we can do that directly affect crime rates, we believe. And there's so many variables that have an impact on crime rates. You've got to be very cautious when we make correlations. But indirectly, I think we could say that Chief Crump made some substantive changes to the way that we recruit folks. And so what we saw in 2017 was that we hired almost 70 police officers. 69 police officers went to 2 police academies, which was up exponentially from where we had been in previous years. That's important because there's no doubt, and of course, speaking anecdotally, there's no doubt that the more officers we have, we believe we can reduce crime. So this year, we're budgeted for 2 academies where our goal is to hire 40 folks to start an academy next month, and then 40 folks to start an academy in August. So that's important. Then Operation Long Haul. So some of the strategies that we have put in place here to get additional officers on the street, and that's a collaborative effort. That's the mayor, the city council giving us that $150,000 in July to move forward with some of those overtime initiatives.
Excuse me just a second, Bill. Michael Carter, who's head of the police union, as you know, he was highly critical of Long Haul, said it was underfunded and understaffed. Obviously, you disagree.
Well, and let me say this. We all, Sergeant Carter, John Settle, I think we all had the same goal, and we all want Shreveport to be a safe place. We want Shreveport, we want to reduce crime, we want to protect and serve, we want to do those things that the citizens expect us to do. And folks bring different perspectives to the table, and folks bring different opinions, and that's not unhealthy. That's a positive thing, because inclusiveness, and especially from a law enforcement perspective, it's important that we look at all the facets of a problem, because we're going to have to work together to solve it. So folks are going to bring different opinions to the table, and at the end of the day, each one of those has some value in a way. However, the chief of police has got to make decisions on a daily basis about how he or she is going to run the police department, and that's any police department from New York to L.A.
Bill, let me ask you this. Early this morning, 1 o'clock, 2 women at a club get in a fight. One stabs the other. who's at fault here? I know people will holler, "Oh, the police need to do more." You can't be held accountable for every stupid thing people do, right?
Well, and crime is a complex sociological issue, and I think it's kind of human nature. Sometimes we want to distill things down to their simplest form. And there's so many facets, so many variables that have an impact on crime. Who's to say? Could alcohol have played a factor in the stabbing this morning? Absolutely. Could one of those individuals have a warrant? Now, this is entirely speculative on my part, hypothetical, but could one of those individuals have had a warrant? Absolutely. Could one of those individuals be on probation? So there's so many different things that play into these things. You have to be cautious about making correlations, but at the end of the day, as police officers, as a police department, we are responsible for crime reduction and not just reducing crime, but addressing the perception or the fear of crime in our communities. And again, we're going to work proactively to do those things.
Let me ask you another question, because this is a deeper, and Robert and I have talked about this a lot. I would bet, and I'm using today's stabbing as just an example, I would bet that these two women involved probably could use a little more education. They could use a little more family background. If I get in a dispute with you, Bill, I'm not going to pull out a knife and stab you. That's not how I operate.
And we've quoted it a bunch of times. We had a shooting in 2017 where a guy shot a guy in the chest over $10. It's you can put 1 million cops on the street, but if they're watching the game and they get in an argument, then there's not much you can do.
Well, and again, when we look at it, and let's just drill down into or take violent crime specifically. And we mentioned it earlier that many times these are relationship-based crimes. And when we look at what we call the totality of the circumstances, again, and Erin, you mentioned it, the perceived breakdown of the family structure, educational concerns, conflict resolution skills. Like you said, you're not going to stab somebody over a dispute. You're not going to shoot somebody over a dispute because there are more appropriate, obviously, ways to resolve a conflict. So all of those things kind of play into that. And again, it's a complex issue. Our part as law enforcement officers, we've got to make sure that we're doing those things that the citizens expect us to do. And we've got to make sure that we're proactive. So when we allocate our resources, we're looking at where we get those shots fired calls. We're looking at where we get those fight calls. We're looking at and analyzing this data so that we can most effectively address it.
Deputy Police Chief Bill Gooden, I hope you and Chief Crump can come in and spend another hour in studio with us and answer questions and kind of set the stage for what's ahead. I hope you guys can set some time.
Hang out with your friends, Robert and Erin.
Yeah, we'll buy you coffee.
Absolutely. We would be thrilled.
Looking forward to it. Bill Gooden, thanks for your time.
Thank y'all.
851, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. I'm looking in Ruben's direction. Traffic update right now. He's ready. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on some backed-up traffic on I-20 westbound, starting at Spring and Market. It's backed up past Benton Road right now. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near McDade Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, sunny and pleasant with a high today of 61, clear with a low of 33 tonight, sunshine, high 64 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
It is 8:53, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL Sports Time.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. LSU snapped a 3-game losing streak and also won an SEC home game for the first time this season with their convincing 77-65 win over Texas A&M. Dwop Reed, coming off a career-high 31 points in Saturday's loss at Vanderbilt, led the Tigers with 21 points and 8 rebounds. Freshman Tremont Waters came through with 15 points, 9 assists, and 8 steals. LSU never trailed, opening a 6-0 lead early, 41-26 at the half, and then they actually saw the lead balloon up to 19 points in the second half. The Aggies whittled it down to 10 points on 7 different times, but LSU had none of that rally. North Caddo's Robert Williams led A&M with 21 points and 15 rebounds. LSU was out-rebounded 50-30, making this the first win while being out-rebounded by 20 or more since Dale Brown's team upset number 2 Georgetown in the Louisiana Superdome back in 1989. Arkansas overcame a 29-13 first-half deficit to beat Georgia on the road 80-77. That game also was in double overtime. This is the first road win for the Razorbacks all season long. And in last night's clash of the 1-4A Titans and high school hoops, 4th-ranked Bossier knocked off top-ranked Woodlawn 85-84 in double overtime. Junior Jacoby Decker led Bossier with 37 points. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Yikes, 8:57, or as we say in England, 8:57. Running late, back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty. Here's Kim Commando.
There was a time 6 or 7 decades ago when a shortwave radio was considered high-tech. And in this day of high-speed broadband and smartphones, old-fashioned shortwave is still the way the world's most clandestine spies communicate. And you can actually hear them. Kim Commando with your Wednesday Consumer Tech Update. With an ordinary shortwave radio and a decent antenna, you can tune into mysterious radio broadcasts from what's called number stations. These secret radio stations have been around for decades. All they do is transmit a series of numbers. Here's an example of one broadcasting from Cuba. In Spanish, she's reciting the numbers 15002. The code is used only once, so it's unbreakable. Even the North Koreans are doing it. Any old-fashioned shortwave works, just scan around the dial. The spies, both good guys and bad, seem to prefer mid-afternoons, and these transmissions tell them exactly what to do. I'm Kim Commando. The world of home security is a noisy place. There are so many different systems, each claiming to be the best. Hidden in all the confusing chatter are long-term contracts, expensive monthly fees. And then there's SimpliSafe, the security company with no long-term contract, no expensive fees, and no complex installation. This is why SimpliSafe is now the fastest-growing home security company in the country, protecting more than 2 million homes. And SimpliSafe is now even better with the all-new SimpliSafe system, with even more safeguards to protect against power outages, downed Wi-Fi, cut landlines, hammers, thugs, and everything in between. The all-new SimpliSafe is smaller, faster, and stronger than anything before. Virtually invisible, with powerful sensors so small you hardly notice them. But the bad guys will, and you still get the same low and honest price. 24/7 professional protection for your home and family for just $15 a month. Go to simplysafekim.com right now to order your new system. That's simplysafekim.com, simplysafekim.com.
Looking right now, some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
8:59, KeelAccuWeather.com. KeelAccuWeather.com forecast. Kind of sunny, 60 the high today. Right now, 43 at Keel, 9 o'clock. And here is Fox News.
Breaking news and trending talk. Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.